Healing you is the easiest thing in the world. It's the easiest thing in the world. It happens in a flash. So much so sometimes even those who get healed can find it difficult to believe they've been healed. I told a story years ago how I had an argument with a blind man after I prayed for him. So to him, he was not healed. I thought he was not healed. This was many years ago. I prayed for him. Well, not one-on-one. I prayed generally, okay? And he was sitting on the front row. So I just prayed for everybody. And the meeting was rounding off. And I was just talking to the Lord about the meeting and whether or not, you know, anyone got healed. And the Lord said to me, he said, the blind man you prayed for was healed. I said, he was healed? The Lord said, yes. So I got up and went straight to the man where he was sitting. His son was sitting beside him. I said, sir, can you see me? He said, no. Now, there were about 1,000 people there. So I said, but the Lord just told me that he healed you. He said, well, I can't see. I said, but he healed you. He said, I can't see anything. So I took him by the hand and brought him to the middle of the crowd. So who should I take here? I wonder, come, you follow me, come. You got healed, right? You were healed today. Wonderful. God is great. So I took the man and I brought him to the middle of the crowd. I said to him, this man came here blind in both of his eyes. They could see him. I was holding his hand. And his son followed. I said, the Lord told me that he healed him. And still he's telling me he can't see. I said, but you've been healed. Then he said, I cannot see at all. I said, don't say that. God healed you. And he said he healed you. The man said, if I can see, I will say I can see. But I cannot see anything. I said, shut up. We were arguing and the crowd was laughing. They were having a wonderful time. They thought it was fun. So I said to the man, shut up. Don't say that again. God doesn't lie. He told me that he healed you. The man said, I can't see anything. So I said, come, follow me. So he followed me. I turned to the light. I said, look at the light. He said, I can't see anything. I said, shut up. Then I moved further. I said, look now. Suddenly he said, I can see. I can see. Thank you. And right away, he's jumping. His son is jumping. The whole crowd went wild. The man could see everything. He saw the people. He was 60 years old at the time. Past 60 years old. He was so excited. A year after, I sent some people to go find out about him. And he said he's been preaching, telling everybody about Jesus Christ. Now, I thought for a while, if I had left that man and allowed him to go home, he would have continued in his blindness even though he was healed at night. you'd have continued in his blindness. A very similar thing happened to another person, a lady this time. So she came for healing. She was in the healing line. She had a heart condition, but then she was blind in one of her eyes, but you couldn't tell because the two were open. Do you understand? They looked normal, but one of the eyes was blind. I didn't know. She didn't tell me until something happened. But in her card, she said she had a heart condition. So I prayed for her about her heart condition. And she traveled all the way from her country to come here. So the next day, I just went to say hello to several of the guests as they were getting ready to leave for their country. And I got to where she and her husband were, and I said, "How are you?" They said, "Fine." They didn't look very excited. So I said, "You're not looking very excited. I saw you in the healing line last night. Is everything all right?" They said, "Yeah." I said, "You were healed of a heart condition, weren't you?" She didn't know whether to say yes or no. Then the husband spoke up. He said, she had another problem that was bothering her. I said, "What was it?" He said, she was blind, totally blind in her left eye. I said, "Oh, so you use the eye as an example." That's a long time. I believe it was the left eye, or was it the right one? It's a long time now. One of them. But then she used the eye. You used your eye to give evidence for your heart condition. So if your eye had been healed, you would have believed your heart was healed. She said, "Yes, yes." I said, "But you didn't say anything about your eye." And she said, "Well, what she told God." I said, "All right, can I tell you something?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "When God healed you last night of the heart condition, he also healed your eye." Then she said, "But I'm not seeing with the eye." I said, "I know, but he healed you when I touched you." So she was looking at me. I said, "Can I prove it to you?" She said, "Yes." Her husband was looking excited now. He's standing beside her. I said, "Close the good one." So she closed it. I said, "Now look at me." She was quiet just a few seconds, and she screamed, "I can see!" It pays to believe God. Always believe. Tell somebody sitting close to you, say, "Always believe." Learn to believe. Yes, believe with all your heart in Jesus Christ. Believe his words. Why would you doubt him? He has all the power, and he's more than willing, and he loves you. That's enough.